Sono lieto di poter rievocare in poche parole le esperienze delle prime trasmissioni radiotelegrafiche a grandi distanze da me felicemente eseguite attraverso l'Oceano Atlantico il 12 dicembre 1901.
Holy snapping bra straps.
It's a podcast. Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours Avalon Standard Time.
Wake up, America! This is the Republic of Avalon Radio Show. Ragadan from the Shoes Posse, letting you know. Link up, don't drop your teacup.
I am known for sticking to principle and not flip-flopping.
Yeah, we need a good man for presidency.
I would guarantee that I would never abuse habeas corpus.
We want him to get the America wake up and help me.
The freedom message brings us together. It doesn't divide us.
I'll say, Ron Paul is here, waking up people everywhere. Ron Paul is here, making people be aware. Ron Paul is here.
The freedom message,
waking up people everywhere. Ron Paul is here.
They can never stop with it. We got a lot of money. We got connection around with the bank, so we just keep my.
Hi, good morning, listeners. My name is Junior Paris. You are listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio.
No, you have to get it. You know, I have to hear the music come through one time. Greetings to everyone.
Hi, this is Indra. I'm from Barbados, and I'm listening to Republic of Avalon Radio. Keep it locked. Keep it locked.
Hey there, this is Georgia from Caribbean Free Radio in Trinidad and Tobago, and you are listening to Roar, Republic of Avalon Radio.
Hi, this is Eddie Grant, and you're listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio. Take it.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
Either you're with us or you're with the terrorists.
You're with the Roar! Republic of Avalon Radio, you're with the Roar. I'm Jim Fidler. Welcome to episode 60 of Republic of Avalon Radio. Welcome to all our new listeners, and we do know that we have some of you out there, wherever out there is. I've mentioned that before here on the show. People use that expression quite freely. You know, people out there. Well, what are people out there going to think? I often ask myself, well, where the heck is out there? Because if there are people out there, then where the heck am I? So a big hello, welcome to all the new listeners, and of course a big thank you to all of you who've been with us for a while, and some of you have been with us since the very beginning, since the birth. And it is late November, folks. We are getting into, I guess, what people call the holiday season, the season of the holy days. I don't quite know what's so holy about Thanksgiving, but I think some people get some solace in the concept of it being a time to give thanks for food and family and all these things. So we'll let you squeak by on a technicality on that one, I think. Anyway, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Our American friends, the Canadian Thanksgiving was a while back in October. And it's pretty much the same sort of deal, except not being as close to Christmas. It's sort of a smaller holiday. Kind of akin to Easter, I guess, where people have a long weekend and families get together and gorge themselves and have a nice big meal and sit around and quite often argue about politricks and things like that, which for the most part doesn't really matter much. Which horse wins the race doesn't really usually matter when the same people own all the horses. But that's it, isn't it, folks? That is the nature of politricks in this thing that we call democrazy. Yes, well, this episode of The Roar is special in a sense. We are very, very happy to bring to you something a little bit different. We've had interviews before where I've interviewed other musicians, other recording artists, and we've rebroadcast interviews that I've done on other programs. Never yet have I rebroadcast an interview that was done by somebody else with somebody else. So this is a first for Republic of Avalon Radio. We will be bringing you an interview courtesy of Mike Wolsey with visibility911.com. An interview that he did March 17th past with a group who we just happened to sort of stumble into in our travels. And we've established contact, and emails have been flying back and forth, and we ordered a copy of their CD, and we're going to send them some of my music, and I would look forward to an interview with them at some point in the future. So keep your ears open for that. In the meantime, we'll let Michael Wolsey do all the hard work, the actual interview itself. The group is called Shoes Posse. Their website is 3shoesposse.com. And they also have a MySpace page at, yes, you guessed it, myspace.com/3shoesposse. And they've been getting a lot of attention, I guess, in what you would call the, what do you call it? The awareness movement, the awakening movement, the wake up movement, the think for yourself movement, the don't believe anything you hear, do your own investigation movement, the 9/11 truth movement, the freedom movement. There's so many different subcategories and so forth, but I do recognize a fellow artist or a fellow group who are doing, from my perspective, what I call conscious music. And that's something that I've always been aware of myself, and I've always felt driven to create what we call conscious music. I think last time I was talking a bit about roots and saying that roots rhymes with truths. And that's the whole idea. Truths is like roots with a T at the beginning. That's where I've been coming from. So running into Three Shoes Posse for me was a wonderful thing. It was kindred spirits, and very, very glad to hook up with them and bring you an interview with them so you can sit in and kind of get to know them and who they are, where they're coming from, and what they're all about. And we'll also be featuring a song called Ron Paul Is Here that they've subsequently released since doing the interview with Michael Wolsey of visibility911.com. So there you go. A big thank you to Michael, by the way. We've shot some emails back and forth, and Michael seems like a kindred spirit as well. So a big shout out, and go check out his website at visibility911.com. He does a regular radio show and podcast, and you can subscribe to that for free. And his radio show is available online as well. So those of you out there who have computers, which I probably would say 99.999% of you listening to me now do, due to the simple fact that this is a podcast and it's available via a computer. And by the way, we are making available right now for anybody who might be thinking about Christmas and wanting to get something for somebody, not knowing quite what to get them. And we're making all my CDs available at jimfidler.com. That's 1D, by the way, JIMFIDLER.com. Right now, you go over there, and the CDs, we will actually gift wrap them and send them to whoever you want them to go to with no extra charge. That includes the shipping as well. So the price you see for the CDs or the T-shirts or whatever you see there, that is the final price. There's nothing added on to that. No shipping, no tax, and we'll also gift wrap that and send that to the person you want it sent to from you on your behalf. So it would be an easy thing, and it's all fully secure. The website is fully secure, and we accept PayPal and all your credit cards and all that kind of stuff. So just a little suggestion to you, something to help us and help us help you, and at the same time spread the music and get that out to somebody that you care about and want to enrich, hopefully, with some of that music from jimfidler.com. And again, the website for Republic of Avalon Radio is self-explanatory. It is republicofavalonradio.com. So, let's push on with this episode, and let's turn things over to Michael Wolsey of visibility911.com and his interview with Three Shoes Posse right after our friendly little jingle. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Hi, this is Eddie Grant, and you're listening to the Republic of Avalon Radio. Take your time.
We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Republic of Avalon Radio.
The best radio in the whole wide world.
You're with the roar.
Welcome to all the new and returning listeners at visibility911.com. As well, welcome to the listeners at Revere Radio Network, where this broadcast can be heard each and every Wednesday evening at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, we're going to get right into the program today. Those who have listened to this program before know that music is a very important part of my program. I try to incorporate music into every one of my broadcasts, and I have learned in my life never to underestimate the power of music. And so I sought out when I started my program to make music a part of every program. And we've been highlighting certain music as the time goes on that I have a certain connection with. And recently I've discovered some of the music over at myspace.com. I always like to have bands who I feel a particular connection with, who I think are really doing a fine job both musically and with their message. Now today we have a band with us that really made an impression on me. They're got a really cool name called Three Shoes Posse. You can find out more about Three Shoes Posse by going to their website at threeshoesposse.com. They also have a nice MySpace page over at myspace.com/threeshoesposse. We have with us today on the line Jerry Stevens, Patterson Martin, and Deborah Stevens, the members of Three Shoes Posse. Welcome to Visibility 911.
Thanks for having us.
I want to get this one in. I want to hear about the name of your band, Three Shoes Posse, and I'm curious what this means and who named the band and where you got this from.
Well, it actually came up as always something that we've always had, two shoes on your feet and one on your derriere. That's the name of our band, Shoes Posse, but it actually came from, when I was a kid, my dad would always tell me if I don't behave, he's going to give me 3 shoes to wear. So I figure we should do that to the government. If the government don't act right, we should give them 3 shoes to wear. So that's what we do here,
We give it to anybody we don't like.
And that's actually a Caribbean expression, right, Pat?
It's just our old saying. I think they use it in America, too. It's just something that people usually use, just if you don't behave, you get 3 shoes, you got 2 shoes on your feet already and 1 in your derriere, so.
Well, I never heard it before.
Yeah. Well, I love that, And, that's one of the things about your band that really stands out is this Caribbean influence. And, I mentioned before that I have a background in music, and I studied music quite a bit. And one of the classes I took in college was called Music Cultures of the World. And this was just an amazing class, and I was just exposed to so much really cool music. And, when I listen to you guys, I hear, these Caribbean rhythms and a real strong reggae influence, but I also hear some rock and some African influence, and a strong political flavor, and some humor as well. So first of all, what I'd like to do is have you guys each individually tell me a little bit about yourselves, what instruments you play, and what you think that you bring to the band.
Well, I sing, write songs, play guitar, live percussion for the band, and help write the lyrics to spread the truth. And that's me, Ragadan Patterson Martin.
And Jerry Stevens here. I play keyboards and guitar and sing, and I write songs, and that's what I do. I also do some dub on this album, but I also play flute and violin, however, not on this particular record that we just released, which leads us to Debbie.
And I'm Debbie Stevens, and I also sing, and I play bass and guitar and a little bit of keyboards, and I help write the drum tracks. And my main thing on stage also out in the studio is doing the dub, which is the effects work and the arrangements of the song and the engineering in the studio. And we all participate together in writing the drum tracks and coming up with the beats, and Pat will come up with bass lines and melodies, and we all participate in pretty much almost every way when we're writing the songs and putting them together, and that's how we do it on stage too.
We all pretty much do everything together. We switch around jobs in the music, so I think that's kind of unique.
Yeah, Pat's also been playing bass some on the keyboards, and I've started playing keyboards more, and Jerry is doing drums, and
Jerry's an all-arounder.
Yeah, Jerry's the one who's the master instrumentalist between all of us here, and he's been helping us here come along, and we've been switching around jobs, and it's really a lot of fun.
These guys are starting to show me up. So.
Oh.
Well, I tell you what, you guys are very, very talented, and one of the things that I look for in music is not only a strong message. If we're talking about vocal music, of course, I want to hear a strong message, but as well, I want to hear some talent in the musical department. You guys are definitely loaded with talent, folks. These guys are definitely more than the sum of their parts, and I'm going to urge you all to get on over to 3shoesposse.com, where you can get a hold of their new CD, 3 Shoes Posse. And guys, one of the things that I really like about your CD, first of all, I mentioned the 10-second Freefall song, which was the first one that I'd heard. Of course, that's going to attract me because I'm a 9/11 activist. But also, one of the things that I like about your CD is, you guys are obviously strongly influenced by the Constitution, you're patriotic Americans, and you cover a wide range of topics which are important today, and 2 songs really stood out to me when I got your CD, and by the way, thanks for sending that to me. The Thief We Money and Red Money, which basically deal with the fraud which we know as the Federal Reserve System. And I wonder if I could get you to comment on these two songs.
Sure, and Thief with Money is actually, for me, that's like, all my life I've been, since I've been a man, I've been working, paying taxes, and it seems like every year I pay more and get back less. So I'm tired of them thieving my money, and as a kid, if somebody steals something from you, you always say, well, somebody taxed me, so I feel like they're stealing something from me, and it's not going to nothing that I believe in, and I can't see my money put to work. So I really do believe that they're stealing it from us, and we need to open up our eyes and realize what's going on with these people who are spending our money.
Them say them chase the red coat, but the red coat never stop. Him live with the money, me say in him hat. Straight to England, me say the red coat put that. And in American hand, man, them still got the pot. I put them hand in the pot and still I eat out of that. Them a thief with money, Jack, and them a thief with non-stop. So please don't be blind, me say like no rat bat. The Federal Reserve, me say print the money, and still I get interest when them print it daily. But son a bun the fall back and them no work for none. Them a make them money, me say them print it when it done. And still a scheme off the top, them get them cut that. Say 300 man, I get a rich up on the spot. And when you check it out, England got honey in a the pot. Only get rid of the red coat, but the red coat never stop. Them a thief with money, thief with money, thief with money, Jack. So open up your eyes and me say you will see that. Me said a lot of people, me say try to stop that. The one Kennedy, him get a shot on this patch. Them a thief with money, thief with money, thief with non-stop. Them a thief with money, thief with money, thief with money, Jack. The Federal Reserve 300 man no own that. A thief with money, thief with money, thief with money, Jack. The Federal Reserve at 300 man own that. Say print the money, get the money off the top, and them still make interest. And me say when them print that, and who a pay the tax? No, the poor man do that. Say son and me say lad a son bun fall back, and them no work for that, and them a get with pan tap, and poor man just a get him back, but bun by son back. And now them a go away with the money done that. And yes, the government me say none of them can stop, and none of them can stop it, else them will get shot. And so you get fi know them a treat we like bat. Say in a the day we say like we can see that. You pay your tax and them still a tax pan tap. And when you donate $1 to the president and that, who a kind of thing, them a thief we non-stop. Them a thief we money, thief we money, thief we money, Jack. And who me a talk about, the federal government do that. The Federal Reserve 300 man a own that. And them a get rich pan the spot, lad got that. And now red coat, who no chase him man back. Straight to England, him gone with the money in him hat. England still have them hand in a the pot, and eating out of it, and them a eat it non-stop. And we the poor people, man, we a work for that. I work and pay with tax, and them still a tax that. Pant up the return, want you tax off for that. And when you donate $1, me say to the president that. Income tax man is incorrect to we. Said there is no law, say we shall pay we. Said them print the money and them lend it to we, and then we have to pay it back with interest, you see. I wonder if it's 5% we are the we. Said them no business because them getting their money. He said them want to bring in inflation per we. Raise everything so we can't afford it. Private bankers put the money in their pockets. Man, you know, Lord, me say this is a racket. Look how them have the world, Lord, that suffer it. The US currency, me say them don't give a damn about it. The Chinese man, they use him Them control the borders and all the interests. Them thief the money, thief the money, thief the money, Jack. Who may top up the Federal Reserve or do that? Thief the money, thief the money, thief the money, Jack. Who may top up Federal Reserve do that?
One of the main things that inspired both of these songs, in our songwriting, a lot of times how these songs come up is that we'll be sitting around the living room talking about issues, the current issues of the day. And the more we talk about it, the more heated up we get and, kind of angry about what's going on. And so then we end up writing a song about it. It's kind of like a creative outlet to vent our steam, and we also are able to use it as a message. And we had just finished watching Aaron Russo's Freedom of Fascism about the fraud of the Federal Reserve and the income tax system. And we were sitting around talking about that and realizing, hey, they're just printing up all this money for free, and then they lend it back to us, and then we have to pay it back with an interest from what they printed up for free, and then it's just tax upon tax, and you pay your tax, and then still tax off that, and they're making all their interest off of our hard work, and there's no law about the income tax, but it's just strictly mob rule. It's kind of like a protection racket. Pay your income tax and nothing bad will happen to you. But there's no real constitutional or legal basis for it. So that's kind of where that song and Red Money was somewhat inspired by that too. And Red Money is Jerry's song. So Jerry, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's the Red Money is referring to a lot of aspects of the currency issue, and it talks about the income tax being just like the mob. The mob just forces people to pay protection money just so that something might not happen to them.
And also the war, right? Because you were talking about Dick Cheney's wallet being soaked in
all bloody
blood from the money that he's making from the war.
Before I saw Aaron Russo's film, I had been studying, just running across things on the internet for, I guess, maybe about a year before I even saw that movie, which we saw last summer, and just little bits and pieces I'd uncover about our currency system that I wasn't sure that I wasn't sure if it was well sourced or not, but the more I checked it out, the more sources I found that are telling the truth about our money system, and it's scary. I mean, these guys have been robbing us blind. I mean, literally blind for over almost 100 years now. Longer than that, actually. The thievery goes all the way back to the money changers, way back in history.
All the way to Julius Caesar.
Yeah. So, we've been robbed for a long time, but the people need really, I don't know how much we can do about it, but I think that people in general need to have an awareness of the currency system that we're using.
And all the soldiers dead, 'cause the money's so red, it's red money. It's all soaked up in blood with jackboots in the mud, it's red money. It used to be so green, the greenest money that I ever seen. They used to back it up with silver and gold, way back in the days of old. Oh mommy, please protect us from the bloody commies. Free republic that I used to know, starting to look just like the manifesto. Whoa, look at all that red money. Get some red money. Red money. Singing the team called up the fiat red money. 2 billion a day just to keep afloat. Red China's got us right by the throat with red money. The banks get the gold plus a free ride, funding wars from both sides with red money. Red money used to be so green, the greenest money that I ever seen. They used to back it up with silver and gold, way back in the days of old. Oh, mommy, please protect us from the bloody commies. A free republic that I used to know, starting to look just like the manifesto. Whoa, look at all the red money.
The fiat currency system, yeah, it's amazing once I started looking into it. And I'm a mathematician myself. That's what I studied in college, and also studied some economics. And like what Pat's saying, you know, they just tax us to death. And the more I started looking into it, even after I saw Aaron Russo's film, pretty much none of the income tax that we pay goes to fund any government programs whatsoever. It all goes to line the pockets of these bankers that own the Federal Reserve, which no one exactly knows who that is. They estimate there's about 300 men or 300 institutions that own the Federal Reserve, and all the interest, all the money that we pay in income tax goes to pay the interest that from them lending the money that they print to us for the privilege of using as currency, and our income tax goes to pay the interest back to them for the privilege of lending the money they print to us for free. And all the money that the government spends is either just printed out of thin air or fractionalized according to the fractional reserve system, which I started learning about, or or corporate taxes. So the income tax, the normal average everyday income tax that the normal person pays, really goes to not pay any government-funded programs whatsoever. It's just strictly to line the pockets of the bankers. It's very, very upsetting once you start finding out about it.
I would also add that as a secondary effect of all this is they have literally destroyed the value of our money by over 98%.
Oh, absolutely, because the more they print this money out of thin air and fractionalize it, which is basically banks are allowed to lend out 9 to 10 times the actual cash that they have in their reserves, okay? And so they, there's 10 times as much money actually in the circulation of our economy than there actually is cash. And the more they keep printing, then that's 10 times more they can fractionalize, and it totally devalues our dollar. Like you said, 98%. I mean, it's to the point that it's extreme. I mean, and that's what real inflation is. And you see these guys get up there and talk about what they call him helicopter Bernanke, because he's just like dropping money everywhere into the system, and that's what real inflation is. It's not like a closed, in normal accounting, normal bookkeeping, you have what they call a dual entry accounting system. You have a debit and a credit. Okay, if you debit one side, you have to credit the other side. That's not the way it works with the Federal Reserve. They just keep throwing money in, and so it's just a total devaluation of our currency. It's very destructive.
And tell us how much they're adding into this system.
Oh, that's right. What is it?
M3 report.
The M3 report. They don't even give the M3 report, which is supposed to be an annual or a biannual report where they say how much money is actually in circulation, and they don't do that anymore.
They have to hide what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
and strictly stealing, man.
And Ron Paul basically said that the Congress has basically zero oversight over the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is supposed to make all kinds of accounting reports to them, and basically there's no accountability at all.
Yeah, well, it's completely unconstitutional to begin with because the power to coin money and the power to regulate the money belongs in the power of Congress if you go to Article 1, Section 8 and Section 10 of the Constitution. But, most Americans don't know that, and they've been propagandized to the point of stupidity when it comes to what the Federal Reserve System is, what the Constitution is, what their rights are. And another one of the things that I really like about you guys is you have a Second Amendment song in there with Gun No Kill. This song addresses this leftist propaganda that would have it that guns are the one that are responsible for all the killing and the shootings, and so therefore we have to take away our guns.
Gun can't pull it.
Yeah, gun didn't make itself. Somebody had to make it.
That's right.
Okay. First of all, so don't blame the gun. You know what I mean? And everybody needs protection, especially the way how the world runs nowadays. Evilest people in the world, and we all can't forget that. So I really do believe that people need to have their gun to protect themselves. But you got to remember, the gun cannot get up off of the shelf and go and shoot somebody. Somebody has to pick it up and put it in the waist and do that. So, I mean, I really do think that, they need to realize, people need to stop blaming guns and blaming people, So.
Man did, who made gunpowder? Man did, who pulled the trigger? Man did, who killed them brother? Me say, man did, cause gun no kill. Man kill, gun from the shelf, Lord, gun just a chill. Gun no kill, man kill. Gun from the shelf, me say, gun just a chill. Gun no kill, man kill. Gun from the shelf, me say, gun just a chill. Who make the gun? Tell me who. A man make the gun to shoot who and who. What them using a war in this year time? Gun and bullet and bump on the line. Every man know me say want them 9. Every man know want them big 45. Every man know me say want them gun. Want them gun to go shoot up and down. Like say this is the wild wild west. Don't they know this state is the best? Put down your gun, take off your gun vest. Take off the belt and put down the gun. Gun coulda never get up, shoot no one down. Gun no have no foot, gun no have no hand. Gun no have no mouth to talk to no one. When the gun bust, man, a bullet come out. All kind of man, me say them a ball out. That's why. Gun no kill, man kill. Gun on the shelf, me say gun just a chill. Gun no kill, man kill. Gun on the shelf, me say gun just a chill. Who make the gun? Man did. Who make the bullet? Man did. Who invent gunpowder? Man make. Put it together. Now the gun I kill each other. Man a ball out, both them ya crime sir. Them want to blame the gun. Can't blame the gun. Gun never get up and run. Gun have no foot. Gun have no hand. Gun have no mouth to shout out. Gun no kill. Man kill. Man pull the trigger, shoot him one brother down. Gun no kill. Man kill. Man pull the trigger, shoot him one brother down. No blame the gun. Do not blame the gun. The gun couldn't get up and shoot the man down. No blame the gun, do not blame the gun. The gun couldn't get up and shoot the man down. It's a man pick up the gun and pull the trigger. Him pull the trigger with his squeeze the hammer. And out of the gun come out the bullets, sir. And him shoot another man, shoot on him brother. And him shoot another one, shoot him sister. The little toddler. The youth them from the corner, me say need some harder. Them fi put down the gun and stop them the gun, sir. The gun couldn't get up, me say out of the house. And you put the gun, me say in a your waist. And you pull the trigger, you no waste no time. Now you there at jail and you doing a lot of time. Gun no kill, man kill. gun on the shelf, just a chill. Gun no kill, man kill. Gun on the shelf, me say gun just a chill. Look how the youth, them want them gun. Want them gun because them shoot each other down. Then them want to blame up the big gun. Walk up and down, me say with them M1. Walk up and down with them 9mm. Walk up and down with them big 45. Just a take whole heap of people live. Gun no kill, a man kill. Man pull the trigger, me say man kill him better. Gun no kill, a man kill. Gun on the shelf, gun just a chill. Don't have no foot, gun no have no hand, no have no mouth to shout out your man. Who pull the trigger, squeeze the hammer, man did that and kill him one brother.
The more I've looked into the Second Amendment and the whole right to bear arms issue, it's become more and more apparent to me that actually not only for self-protection from, other criminals or being robbed or whatever, that the reason that we are given the right to bear arms in our Constitution mainly is to protect ourselves from the government.
Okay. People think some people I think the Constitution is there to protect us from enemies outside the United States, but it's actually there to protect us against government.
And I heard Michael Badnarik at the Capitol rally here in Texas on March 2nd. He was saying, because things can get really bad here, about trying to, enforce our rights. And Michael Badnarik on the loudspeaker in front of 2,000 people, he goes, "Well, folks, if the First Amendment won't work, the second one will."
Yeah. Well, that's what it's there for. Like you said, that the Founding Fathers knew the tendency of government and the ability of man to be corrupted, and they wanted for the new Americans to be able to have the right to defend themselves against tyranny.
Absolutely, and all throughout history, dictators and tyrannical governments, before they institute extreme measures of taking people's rights and even genocide upon the people, the first thing they always do is disarm the populace. Okay, it's happened over and over with Mao and Hitler and Stalin. The first thing, there's a T-shirt that Alex Jones website. It says, "Mass murderers agree, gun control works." It's a lot easier to control the people and inflict tyranny upon them if they're unarmed. Yeah, because there's only so many police and there's only so many military in comparison, ratio-wise to the general public. And if all of us have guns, then they're not really going to be able to enforce their tyranny on us. They'll just be outnumbered, period.
Yeah, that's been the problem with elites from, time immemorial, is that there's more of us than there are of them, and so they have to have some way to control us.
Right. And it's much easier to control the populace and inflict fear if they're unarmed. Because you got to realize even at some point the military or the law enforcement that are being called upon to enforce tyranny, they're going to hesitate at storming a house if they think they're going to get shot back at by their own neighbors. And which also I just wanted to mention very quickly, Officer Jack McLam, which I'm working with him right now. He has an organization called Police and Military Against the New World Order to educate police and military about what's really going on here, so that what he calls his brothers and sisters in the military and law enforcement will not unwittingly take away our rights, under false pretenses.
He reminds them that they spoke an oath
to uphold the Constitution. Yeah, and I hear Bush and some of these other people in the administration talking about all the time about how the president has to protect us and all this stuff. And you know what? In his oath, he never says to protect the American people. He says his oath is to protect and defend the Constitution. We protect and defend ourselves through the Second Amendment.
That's right, and I think one of the slogans over there, I'm not sure if that's on Police and Military Against the New World Order or not, but it basically says, if tyranny comes to your door, it will be wearing a uniform.
Right, and he also says, one of their basic mottos is this: if the police and law enforcement and military won't enforce tyranny, it will never be enforced. There's a criminal elite cabal of maybe a dozen or 20 or so families that are a few hundred people at the most that are behind this whole New World Order thing, but they can't control the world without the enforcement of either private mercenary security firms, or the military, or the police. And we actually we were working on a song the other day called 50 Million Men Chasing 500. It's like we kind of really outnumbered, so I have a lot of hope that we really are going to be able to turn this country around.
Sure. Well, it's like that movie A Bug's Life, when the ants finally realize that there are more of them than there are of the grasshoppers.
Uh-huh.
And then the grasshoppers are out of there at that point.
Right, absolutely. And when you realize that they're actually like a predatory subclass of our species, it's like they feed off of us, or they try to. We're the host, and they're the predator. And I guess I was hearing George Gordon saying this the other day. The predator or the parasite needs the host.
That's right.
The host doesn't need the parasite. They need us a lot more than we need. We don't need them at all. So they're actually in a more vulnerable position than we are. They just like to try to make us believe that they have all the power, but they really don't.
Yeah, you got that right. Now, I want to get on to the song that really stood out to me on your album, the 10-Second Free Fall, and I played that on my broadcast before. We're going to go ahead and play it again today, but one of the things that I noticed about this song in particular and some of your music is that, now, first of all, I want to kind of give a background to the listeners, and basically, in the world of music, when a composer is writing some music, if he wants it to have a happy kind of sound, he'll use a major tonality or a major key. If he wants to, if he wants to paint a song in a sad mood, he'll use a minor key or a minor mode. And Mozart was really famous for, whenever he wanted to write about death in his operas, or like his Requiem Mass, he always used the key of D minor, which would always depict death in his operas. And so, this has been a common practice throughout history with composers as soon as they learned how to manipulate the scales. And so when I hear 10-Second Free Fall, it's kind of like this happy, kind of jovial kind of like song, but it's got a dark connotation to it, in that the Twin Towers were brought down by a controlled demolition. And I guess my question would be, is this something that just happened when you were composing? Is this a trait of reggae music? Or is this something that you intentionally did, tried to achieve this musical contradiction?
Good question. It was kind of inadvertent, that aspect of it. This band, we've been writing stuff, and the subjects we pick, the lyric subjects we pick are usually so dark. Ever since we formed, we've been pretty much into activist music, but the ideas are so dark that we constantly are looking for ways for humor. In that particular song, I didn't really, it might have been just guided by the way we write songs, but I had been studying 9/11 Truth for about a year and a half or so, and I was just getting madder and madder and madder. And I had all these buzzwords about the issue, 10-second free fall and controlled demolition and rocket scientists and this and that, and the song was just getting. Songs just come to me a lot of the times, and I don't really have a whole lot of decision making. It just comes in my head, and that's pretty much what happened with that song. I didn't consciously write it in a major key to try to make that sad subject sound happier or have more humor, but that's just what happened. And so once actually, it started out with a different rhythm and migrated into what it is now, and I just did my part, and Pat did his part, and of course Debbie threw her vocal part in there, but she was the one who did all the editing with the interview between Alex Jones and Stephen E. Jones, and she did an excellent job of arranging that song and mixing it. And but yeah, I really didn't realize that about that song. Thanks for pointing that out.
Twin Tower fall down in front of us. The beam them use in the building, you see. Twin Tower should have stand up and not take it easily. Man, Mr. Julian, no man, him in Howie. Hide the beam, them destroy them quickly. Building 7 man, them done destroy the paper, them lot quickly.
I ain't no rocket scientist, but I got 2 good eyes and I can see right through your tricks. I ain't no rocket scientist. You can't change the laws of nature. You can't change the laws of physics. I don't need to be a rocket scientist.
Professor Stephen Jones, he has a doctorate in physics, and he has now gotten samples. They've taken the samples, they've done scientific tests on them. Professor Jones just doesn't find evidence of thermite. They find the byproducts of thermate, patented for specific use in cutting steel columns. The hair on the back of my neck standing up.
10-second free fall. That's what everybody saw. 10-second free fall. Feels like my best friend just sucker punched me outside my jaw with a 10-second free fall.
The groundbreaking test. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I was rather surprised when we did the analysis was the amount of sulfur. And sulfur added to thermite, it's called thermate, and that is used specifically to cut through steel. I mean, when you put sulfur in thermite, whammo, that's like a hot knife through butter.
Controlled demolition. Fool most of the world with a few well-placed munitions.
Police saying bombs are going off.
Demolition, all because one world government wants to come to its fruition. They did controlled demolition.
6.5 seconds, collapse to building 7.
Search on building 7. And it might turn out that it's your own neck that you are saving. Do a search on building 7. It might turn out that it's your republic that you're saving. Do a search on building 7.
We looked at the free fall compared to the fall of building 7, and they're almost the same. When I saw the collapse of building 7, man, I said to myself, that is strange. I'd never seen it before. You know, collapse that late afternoon. It was never hit by a jet, but here it comes straight down. I don't see any raging inferno in this building, but I do see it fall straight down.
On the TV, me say when me see NBC, ABC, and CBS. Lord, them a tell a whole heap of lie to we. Them not tell the truth, man, them crazy. Want an investigation about it. Lord, them blow it up in front of we. Ashes to ashes, concrete to dust. Twin Tower fall down in front of us.
A real investigation.
Pools of molten metal.
That's what we need, so we can take back our nation. Real investigation. I saw a 10-second free fall, so I want you all to call out for a real investigation.
If you've ever had a wood-burning stove, but you've never had that puppy melt on you, I dare say.
That's what everybody saw. 10-second free fall. Official story don't make a lick of sense at all. It was a 10-second free fall.
The implications stop many people from going past square one. I mean, they say, well, wait a minute, you know, are we talking about an inside job here? And I'm saying, well, I'm talking about physics. And they say, but that would imply an inside job. I say, I'm afraid so. You know, explosives in a building, it takes time to plan and plant those explosives and incendiaries. So I'm afraid that the truth is out, you know, to suggest that Arabs had access in these buildings, particularly Building 7, which housed a secret CIA office, is ridiculous in the extreme.
9/11 is...
As far as your comment about is that just a trait of reggae music, that's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of reggae music that's in minor keys. Part of what reggae music does sometimes is it switches back and forth between minor and major keys within the same song. And we do try to inject humor a lot of the time into our music when we're doing activist songs, because it helps people to accept it. It helps people to learn the truth easier. And Ken Jenkins was pointing this out. He's a big 9/11 activist. He works with David Ray Griffin, and he was pointing out, different psychological techniques to try to help wake people up. And humor is a big one because it puts a lightness in the mind, that people can laugh and the brain can more easily comprehend the truth and grasp the truth without people having a nervous breakdown, so to speak, when you find out about these things. And so we do consciously inject humor in our melodies, and I think maybe it might have been a subconscious thing on Jerry's part. And Patterson, of course, is the big humor person and the class clown, so to speak. And I tried to and when I was cutting up the interview, I tried to do funny things like where it talks about they believe in fairy tales at the 911 Commission, but not controlled demolition. And I put a little line in there that Alex Jones says, "Well, I would just ignore that idiot."
Well,
and so.
I would also add that you're the only rocket scientist in the band.
Oh. Yeah.
Not only that, but it's the subject is so sad, and a lot of people so many people get hurt. People is already done about it. Don't make it much. Don't paint the picture darker than it is. Put a little light to it. That's the way I look at it. I mean, ease the pain a little bit. You got to help ease people pain. So. If you mean putting it in a happy card, a sad card, I mean, that's just what happened. I think the whole thing just happened by, that's just Jah work. That's the Father's works, So, I mean, we all got to thank God that that's the way it happened.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, our songs are really, as Jerry says, sometimes he feels like, and I do too, like we don't really have much control over the songwriting. It comes to us in spirit from the Father.
So.
Indeed.
Got to put him first in everything you do. So.
That's right. That's why I'm here with you folks today, and I just really appreciate the gifts that God's given you folks, and that you're able to get out and share them with the people who are out there doing work. And you guys not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk too. Why don't you talk a little bit about your activism there in Austin?
Well, okay. I'll talk a little bit about the things that I've been doing. I am working on forming a citizens grand jury right now to hold hearings on the crimes of 9/11, which I'm finding out the more I look into it is a major task that's going to end up needing to have some serious reform in the legislative and judicial branches. The whole grand jury principle has basically been totally trampled over the last 100 years, to the point that now grand juries are basically a rubber stamp for prosecutors, and grand juries have almost no power on their own anymore to do independent investigations or to bring charges of their own. And so I'm working on that. There's really not even such a thing hardly anymore as elected grand juries, which is in the beginning of our early America, and in England they were elected, and they were elected on a frequent basis, usually only 3 to 6 months. Were the standing grand juries of the community, and the reason they wanted to have them such a high turnover rate was to prevent the grand juries from becoming politicians and becoming corrupt, which I think was a very good idea. And so I'm working right now to restore the power of grand juries as basically they're called the shield and the sword of the people. As the shield of the people, they work to protect against harassing type prosecution, whimsical and capricious prosecution by the state, basically for political dissidents. If they want to get somebody off the street and shut them up, they could just accuse you of some horrendous crime that there's no basis in fact, and without the power of the grand jury to approve the prosecutor's indictment, they could just be locking up people all the time waiting for trial for basically nothing. And that was one of the main functions of the grand juries, was to protect accused people from being accused falsely and brought to trial falsely. But the other aspect of it is the presentment, which is the same as a prosecutor's indictment, but it's just that the grand jury itself does an investigation and presents a charge or an indictment to the court. And so I'm working on that for, concerning 9/11 crimes. There's other grand juries in other cities, and there we're going to be having a simulcast on Court TV and also hopefully C-SPAN later in this summer in August. I've also been working hard against the implementation of the Real ID Act. There's been 2 bills that have been filed in the House and the Senate to implement it, but at the same time, there's a House resolution that has been filed to oppose it. So that's going on, and we've Karen and
we all support Vote Rescue.
Vote Rescue, yes,
we do the Vote Rescue thing, which is really, really important to this country. We need to kill these voting machines.
Yes, absolutely. We were actually at a Vote Rescue Party celebration party last night because they just got a bill filed that actually Karen wrote herself. She's the founder of Vote Rescue. Karen Rennick, sorry, that would require the hand counting of paper ballots
in public view. In
public view, videotaped for all elections in Texas. There's been also there's a lot of good news going on in the legislature here in Texas. There are 2 bills that have been filed in the House and the Senate, sponsored by the NRA and the gun owners of America, that would prohibit gun confiscation in Texas during any types of so-called emergencies or natural disasters. So I'm on the case, keeping track of all these bills to go to the committee hearings and to get the word out, to get people up to the Capitol when they have these hearings, to make sure that things go the way they're supposed to. Jerry was up at the Capitol a couple of weeks ago for the Trans-Texas Corridor hearing, right, Jerry? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, it was. They had more people at the Capitol for public hearings, I think, than they'd ever had.
Yeah, it was record-breaking.
Record-breaking. They had a lot of people up there staring them down and telling them that they do not want this Trans-Texas Corridor, and they don't want public-private partnerships. They don't want the North American Union. They were just everybody. I mean, hardly anybody was there to support that kind of nonsense.
And also the NAIS, which require the RFID chipping of all animals, including people's pets. Mm-hmm. That was part of the big rally on March 2nd, was against the Trans-Texas Corridor and against the NAIS. And so as a result, we're getting legislation filed, and actually right now we've got a two-thirds of the Senate, and we're like 7 short of 2/3 in the House of that would vote on a moratorium against the Trans-Texas Corridor. And if we get that 7 more to get the 2/3 in the House, it will override any veto by Governor Rick Perry. And Pat does a lot of activist work too, mainly on the streets. And talking to people about these things to wake people up. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I figure that's the best way to go, to wake people up. I think people, we need to talk to each other. Communication is the best way, It's one of my favorite C's, communication. And I think, if we communicate to people on the street, we wake them up, you'll find people that don't agree with you, you just move on. But, for everyone that disagree, you'll find 10 more that agree, that you just wake up. So I think people need to get out there and talk to people, and just like how, you should talk to your neighbors, so I really do. Mm-hmm. I push that a lot, I get out there and I push Vote Rescue, and different bills. So anything that I just don't agree with, where I think that people, the government is mistreating the people, misleading the people, because a lot of people don't really pay attention to what's going on around them, which is really sad, and it only affects the people that pay attention that what's going on around them. So, I mean, I love going out, I go door to door, club to club, pub to pub, wherever I have to go, and letting people know, what's going on. So.
Pat's made people cry at parties before.
Yeah, well,
telling them the truth.
Well, people don't want to hear the truth. People don't like the truth, but the truth is the truth, You can't change the truth, and there's no way to water down the truth. So, I mean, I've talked to people before about 9/11 and what's going on, and watch them break down in tears and tell me, the government could never do that to its own people. The government will never do that. And I'm like, what kind of world are you living in? Government always done that.
Well, yeah, and Jerry and I were talking about, just how conditioned the society has become. But like in the Caribbean world, or like in the Rasta world, a lot of the hardcore Rastas, they're totally on board with what we're talking about with 9/11. They don't even question it. We were looking at some of the playlists of some of the DJs on these reggae shows across the country, and I was expecting they would play more of like maybe the rootsy reggae type of songs that are on our CD, but almost every page I go to, they're playing 10-second freefall.
Sweet.
And we've gotten some feedback from some of the DJs. Thank you for speaking out about these truths and stuff. And we were saying like, oh yeah, these hardcore Rastas, you tell them, man, the government blew up the towers, and they're like, what? Oh yeah, man. Of course they did, man. They don't even need to look at any evidence. They're like, oh, the government did it. Oh yeah, man. Of course they did.
What was that one DJ that played 10-second free fall, and then he followed it immediately with "We're burning and looting tonight"?
Oh yeah, by the Wailers.
Bob Marley.
By the Wailers. It's called "Burning and Looting." So it's like, yeah they know. The hardcore reggae and Rastas. They've been anti-Babylon, they call it chant down Babylon, and that's what we're doing in our music, is chanting down Babylon, and they've been chanting down Babylon for...
Babylon has to fall, eventually. Eventually Babylon will fall. We just got to take back this country from these criminals. That's what I call them, a bunch of criminals. They're worse than the mafia.
They are, and Phil Berg is bringing RICO cases concerning on behalf of the victims of 9/11, which the RICO laws have to do with the racketeering and the mob.
Another thing that we do, activism, is we give out truth DVDs at all our shows.
Yes.
And I carry DVDs with me all around, over every place I go, and I managed to give a lot out. We at our recent shows, we're giving out about 200 CDs per show.
DVDs.
Free DVDs.
I mean DVDs. Truth DVDs like Freedom to Fascism and Terror Storm and Mysteries, Demolitions, and we got a bunch of them.
Yeah, well, I think it comes back to what you all had mentioned, is the education, and we still have a lot of work to do. I mean, it's amazing the amount of work that has already been done, considering that the media is completely controlled, but it's all been done by word of mouth, with folks talking to people, passing out DVDs, but it's been very effective despite all the obstacles that have been placed in front of us. But I want to thank you folks for your activism, for your music, and for coming on the program today. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Do you have something that you could maybe give me a cappella?
Yeah, sure we can.
What do you guys want to do? Should we do...
Ron Paul is here.
You want to do the Ron Paul song? Okay, let's try.
Ron Paul, 1, 2, 3. Ron Paul is here, waking up people everywhere. Ron Paul is here, making people be aware. Ron Paul is here. Make sure you vote for the man next year. Ron Paul is here. For the Constitution he's here.
Wake up, America! This is the Republic of Avalon radio show. Ragadan from the Shoes Posse, letting you know. Link up, don't drop your teacup.
I am known for sticking to principle and not flip-flopping.
Yeah, we need a good man for presidency.
I would guarantee that I would never abuse habeas corpus.
We want him to get the America wake up and help me.
The freedom message brings us together. It doesn't divide us.
I'll say,
Ron Paul is here, waking up people everywhere. Ron Paul is here, making people be aware. Ron Paul is here,
the freedom message,
waking up people everywhere. Ron Paul is here,
defending liberty.
Vote for the man Lord next year.
There's a doctor in the house. There's a doctor in the house.
Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? Well, Houston, we have a problem. We need Ron Paul to solve them. Houston, we have a problem. We need Ron Paul to solve them.
The moral principle is that of defending liberty and minimizing the scope of government. If you think the government has to take care of us from cradle to grave, and if you think our government should police the world and spend hundreds of billions of dollars on a foreign policy that we cannot manage, you can't get rid of the IRS. But if you want to lower taxes, and if you want the government to quit printing the money to come up with shortfall and cause all the inflation, you have to change policy.
Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? So code blue, somebody ball out in ICU. Them have a patient where them rip into. That's the constitution where they rip into. Need a resuscitation to fix it.
In Washington, we either prohibit it or subsidize it. And the market should deal with it and the state should deal with it. We print money for it, the value of the money goes down, and poor people pay higher prices. That is a tax. Wall Street's doing quite well, but the inflation tax is eating away at the middle class of this country. We need to get rid of the inflation tax with sound money.
He's the only man could help the country. And when him come and help all of we people, man, you know you have to vote for him.
I am absolutely opposed to a national ID card. This is a total contradiction of what a free society is all about. The purpose of government is to protect the secrecy and the privacy of all individuals, not the secrecy of government. We don't need a national ID card. The freedom message brings us together. It doesn't divide us.
Lord, now. Hey, come here, now. Ron Paul is here, helping people everywhere. Ron Paul is here, making people be aware. Ron Paul is here,
defending liberty.
I beg you vote for them next year. Ron Paul is here,
the freedom message,
making people be aware.
I'm suggesting very strongly that we should have a foreign policy of non-intervention. I tried very hard to solve this problem before we went to war by saying, declare war if you want to go to war, fight it and win it, but don't get into it for political reasons or to enforce UN resolutions or pretend the Iraqis were a national threat to us.
Houston, we have a problem. We need Ron Paul to come solve them. Is there a doctor in the house? If there's a doctor in the house, I want me say code blue. There's a patient in ICU. Man, the constitution where them rip into. Need Ron Paul to fix this back, that's true. With a resuscitation, fix the constitution.
The moral principle is that of defending liberty and minimizing the scope of government.
Them can't school we. Ron Paul a go run for the presidency. In the future, man, we a go call him Mr. President Ron Paul for the country. Make sure you vote for the man in a hurry.
We talked about a humble foreign policy, no nation building, don't police the world. That is a conservative, it's a pro-American, it follows the founding fathers, and besides, it follows the Constitution. I would work very hard to protect the privacy of American citizens, being very, very cautious about warrantless searches.
Ron Paul is here, making people be aware. Ron Paul is here. Make sure you vote for them next year. Ron Paul is here, helping people everywhere. Ron Paul is here, making people be aware.
There's every reason to believe that we have enough freedom in this country to have freedom of expression, and that's what is important. We should never interfere with the internet. That's why I've never voted to regulate the internet, even when there's the temptation to put bad things on the internet. Regulation of bad and good on the internet should be done differently.
Ron Paul, get up and run for us all. Mr. President, Mr. Ron Paul. Three Shoes Posse, we are going to see. Man, now we first the motion, now we second. Now Ron Paul a run for presidency. A real patriot man, we could help we. Ma fix the constitution, where them ripping tree. You know resuscitation could help we. And Ron Paul make the government ball, you see. Even federal government, he fix them quickly. And make them know, Lord, man, they can't rob we. You know see how them a rob we with them damn tax money. And them the kind of thing Rampal not stand for him. And the federal government, Federal Reserve fee. The Federal Reserve man, he a go fix it. I make them know them can't miss a rob with money. The Constitution, me say them put it back in hurry. Because President Rand Paul is ready. God we trust, Rand Paul help we. Me have faith in the man, people come help we. Vote for the man so presidency. Vote for him, Lord, me say do it quickly. Put it on paper ballot on your county. You get some college kids volunteer the time you see. And count the paper vote, me say in front of we. In public view, man, we want to count it. Not just them machine, Rand Paul, them crazy. Them we rip off the election from all the week. Cause Rand Paul is here.
Defending liberty.
Helping people everywhere. Rand Paul is here.
The freedom message.
Making people be aware. Rand Paul is here.
Defending liberty.
Make your vote for him, Lord, next year. Rand Paul is here.
The freedom message.
Helping people everywhere. Rand Paul is here.
Defending liberty.
Make your vote for him, Lord, next year.
Well, that's it for another episode of Republic of Avalon Radio. Glad you could be with us. Big ups to the Three Shoes Posse. Check them out at threeshoesposse.com. Big thanks to Michael Wolsey. Check him out at visibility911.com. And don't forget our special free gift wrapping offer over at jimfidler.com. And get those gifts off in time for Christmas. But in the meantime, from Lillian and myself, take care of each other, and we'll catch you next time right here on Republic of Avalon Radio.
Root Cellar production.